Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And before we get started, I know that the thumbnail and the description of this video says Yolanda Marie will be here. There was a scheduling conflict that had come up, so she's here with us in energy and in spirit, and she will join us in another show sometime in the near future. In the meantime, I'm so grateful to have my lovely guest, Guardian, my brother. He's here to join us
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
There's so much energy going on, and Guardian really does have a grasp of like all these things. He's like got one of those minds that can put them all together. And so I always look forward to check in and see what Guardian's take is on the energy update for the time. So how are you, Guardian?
Hey, hello. I'm sending lots of love to everyone from Transylvania. I think we have some reverb happening.
Oh,
Okay, it's okay now.
perhaps. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sending everyone lots of love. Thank you for joining. The energies have been very hectic. A lot is happening on a personal level, but also now in the open, globally, we're going through a huge transformation. I know that this is not news for the lovely people listening here, but it's awesome to see that all the things that we've been talking about for years or even decades are now like public knowledge.
Yes.
Yes, and we were called crazy and lunatics for talking about this stuff, but now it is public knowledge. I heard I don't remember who said it, but it was like very to the point that I'm probably not going to phrase it correctly, but like this whole thing about like conspiracy theories, it just the timing of the information that's really happening. So if you're too early with the information, people are going to go crazy, but
Right. Right.
later on, it's going to be public knowledge, like,
And
and
then
it is, yeah,
yeah, and then by the time that the others, it becomes public knowledge, then they don't even remember the times that they put you in psych wards for it. It's just like regular. They're like, yeah,
yeah,
remember when,
they're just going to pretend we knew it all along. So
right?
yeah.
Remember in 2020 when they told us, they started to tell us that UFO were real, that they were really a thing, and this was like in the beginning parts of, like, I think it was March or maybe April of 2020, and it was like this big piece of information and knowledge, and everyone's like, yeah, we figured. I always thought so. The people were saying those things that like were like persecuting us and making us feel crazy. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, but only the stuff that is like coming out in the public are like things that we kind of already knew, and they're just confirming that.
yeah,
Yeah, like we were denying all that stuff so far, but yeah, it was true.
right, right, yeah. So what are some of the things? Maybe we can list some of the things that are just being revealed right now. Would you like to do that? Is that some of the things that are like
I'm not
most
sure
interesting?
what's like the current status of stuff, but yeah, like I really enjoyed in the past, like researching extraterrestrial stuff and like contact with ETs. But since it started to go mainstream, I like tuned out completely. I was like, oh, it's now. I mean, I wouldn't say it's popular, but it's more common knowledge, and it's not as interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
it's still an important topic, but yeah, it has a different vibe to it right now.
right. I hear you. And it's super exciting when it's happening, but then when it's actually time to talk about it, because it's been normal for us for so long,
Yeah,
and when it's finally released into the mainstream knowledge base, it's like I'm just sharing our so people know where we're live. I forgot to do that on Telegram. Um, uh, is that like we re- don't have any feelings of like I need to say I told you so it doesn't anchor in us when the knowledge comes in. It's like there is that moment of like, see, but like you don't really say it. It's just like, okay, there it is, and
yeah,
then
like
you wait.
especially if you're like an experiencer and you like had lots of experiences throughout your life,
Mhm.
and now people start to talk about it, and you're like, yeah, like Yeah, finally.
right?
There's absolutely nothing new for us. Or I know, like, yeah, I don't want to say any examples, but it's very interesting that you see these things being mentioned in like news
Yeah,
and like in public places. And yes, for some people, it's like, whoa, like this amazing and unbelievable topic. And for me, it's like completely mundane. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh, here's a new one that's kind of fun. Hey, it's 111 right now. This one's kind of fun.
it's 9/11. So
Ooh, is that we've been having for some time now. It's been, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I got distracted by this comment. Do you mind if I read the comment real quick?
yeah, sure.
Was just wondering what the real reason for psych ward is. Some guy did a video on how psych ward buildings are part of old Tartaria architecture. This is a really fun question. Do you want to go into this question?
I have zero information about this. I don't
Oh
even
man,
know what that is.
I could
So
do like a 3 hour talk on this, but
those are the psych wards are where they like contain crazy people, or
that's
how? Okay,
correct
okay.
in a long term way. So those are our people. I'm just going to say that. Like, there's uh, the people who we have been calling crazy for a long time. Yeah, many people have been interfered with medically because of, trying to contain some type of thing. But I mean, and I know that there are exceptions to what I'm talking about, but having worked in that field, I would say that at least 70% of you know, um, who are admitted to a long-term stay psych ward set situation um, are typically people who are starseeds. And uh, there's a whole bunch of stuff. One of them was a CIA article that declassified in 2016. And so it was from 46. And it was talking about using petroleum encapsulated chemicals to quiet the God complex of the brain, to quiet the future whistleblowers. And so there was, and then in that document, they were talking about inventing something called ADHD or ADD back then. They ended up later on adding the H. However, this was a 1946 document saying that they were going to do it, okay, to quiet the future whistleblowers. In that same document, they actually invented the word conspiracy theorist guardian. This is the most amazing document. If you can find it, I'm not somebody who goes and digs on that site. Someone sent it to me, and I was drawn to it back then in 2016. Anyhow, but it says in there also that to put out through all of the radio stations, because it was in 46 before they had television. They said
Hmm.
in the radio stations and all news outlets to push the concept of ostracizing conspiracy by using the word conspiracy theorist, or to ostracize these whistleblowers. They called them whistleblowers. It was a whole propagandized thing that they did, and it pushed out. We still use that word, conspiracy theorist, all these years later. And 100% all of the people who are put into long-term care are at least on the foundations of Tartaria. Tartaria is a whole topic, a whole
Yeah,
rabbit
what
hole.
is that for the people, including me, who don't know what that is?
Okay, remember, this is for your reference personally, Guardian. Remember that video I sent you about all the World's Fairs? And
Yeah,
every time that they would have the World's Fairs, it would be like these amazing, immaculate structures. And then they'd like demolish it right after the World Fair was over.
yeah, I
Um,
remember.
I've dug down farther down this rabbit hole to discover a whole prehistory that's been washed out. It started that the fall of Tartaria was in 1888. At that time, it wasn't 1888, it was 888 with a J in front of it. They added 1,000 years. At that same time, that the fall of this culture was more of, it was of an advanced using Zeppelin, Tesla kind of technology, free energy. All of these roads are, turns out they've got the foundations for magnetic hovercraft, and they didn't use it. Still, it's still underneath our blacktop roads. It's crazy. It's all over this country and other countries. um, they've shown that the wall of China is facing the wrong direction. That was the wall of Tartarus was another way that they said it. It's facing China. It's to try to stop the people that lived in China at that time from entering the country. And like they say that this was Tartarian, and a lot of these underground cities and the ornate structures. A lot of them you'll see like in India and Russia still. They have like the dome, and then the peak on top, and there's usually like little like balls between. It looks like a weird antenna.
Mm-hmm.
That's the free energy that was happening in the time of Tartaria. There's a whole show that I'm going to do about this in about a week. So, but in the meantime, it's
okay.
A lot of information. That's why I got so distracted. I saw that and I was like, gone into Tartaria. Did I describe it well enough to be understood?
I think so, yeah.
I got really excited. My apologies. Yeah, and they're ornate. They're very ornate. So that there is a lot of stuff about this that we see in these, and now we are understanding that, along with that comment regarding the declassified information, is that the vast majority of us would be considered neurodivergent in some way. Like if you use the diagnosis classifications.
Okay.
I
only remember that my wife took me to that Divergent movie like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like if anyone remembers that. It's like some kind of future post-apocalypse movie where like people live in this society that everyone has like a caste, I think. So everyone's like put in a box and they have to be born and like live according to those norms, for the sake of controlling them. And like the divergent people are who don't fit in either of those boxes, or they would fit in all of them, and they are super dangerous for the system. Yeah, like when the movie was over and like my wife asked me like how did I like it, I was like, holy shit, I'm super divergent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally resonate with that too. But like everyone wants to do like we're doing. That's what I think is funny, is like, I don't know, that happens for me. I typically am doing something over here because no one else is over here, because everybody's over there. And like, then people all want to come over and do whatever it is that we're doing and kind of end up wherever I'm at. Like, I know that happens to all of us. And like, Guardian, you're the first person that said the same thing that I experience all the time. And it was super validating. This was years ago when you were live. I don't remember, probably in 2020. It's how many people approach you in public and just like unload their whole secret world of background they've never told anyone before stuff to. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but which experience or story are you referring to?
Well, like, what are some of the things like that happen to us, that are starseeds or whatever words you want to use, empaths? What are some of the things that you can kind of like almost be able to like take a test to see if you are kind of thing, the things that everybody has happen, like the store example.
Okay, yeah, I think all of us have those. Yeah, but some people don't recognize it, or you just like take it for granted because like, and you think that everyone else is experiencing life the same way as you do.
Right.
Or at least for quite some time, like that was my perception of this whole empath thing. Like since after I had my awakening, and I was guided to go to an astrologer like very early on, even though I was not into astrology or any of those stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. I think he was like exactly 10 years older than I am, and he was like, he didn't even look at my chart or anything. He just flat out said, like, you're an empath and you need to learn to use your abilities. And I'm like, what? Like, what is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like that definitely like opened up a whole new world for me to understand like how does my ability function, or how should I maneuver with it? How can I coexist with other human beings without being drained or attracting any type of sickness or unpleasant stuff into my body? Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's a whole learning curve with that.
Oh yeah. And it's like fine tuned motor. You're like messing with it. It's, or you can use the example, it's similar to like a recipe. You have to just, everybody's a little bit different, and so just kind of figuring out your own. I think that we all have equally equal access to all of these things. Like that's why I use the word clairs instead of saying like clairvoyant or something, is that we have all of us have all of them. There's no class system about this stuff. It's just learning to allow yourself to access it and then how to do it. It's kind of like finding out you have wings and then trying to figure out how to move those muscles.
Yeah, like it's part of our way of being, of how we function. Just as you're able to use your physical eyes to see your surroundings or to hear what is around you or touch something, like we're taking these senses very for granted, at least most of us who have them. We take them for granted, but we have a lot of other senses too, and capabilities of like how to communicate and interact also energetically as well. We were just numbed down or dumbed down to try to ignore them as best as we can. Or if any of those things pop up in our life, to like put it in a box that this doesn't exist or doesn't make sense. It's
Right.
crazy, or this just didn't happen at all.
Right.
And some of us live for quite some time in complete denial of what we're going through. And it's not very healthy because it's creating a lot of resistance.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I'm going to answer a question real quick. Janet's wanting to know why she can't see your comments. Um, we are streaming on 3 different platforms. We're streaming on Guardian's channel, my channel, and also my Facebook. So wherever you're tuning in that's where you'll see the comments. So that's been a question that's been asked a lot lately. So I just thought I'd answer that one. Oh, I see. You answered that in comments. Thank you for doing that. I'm behind. Um, is there a specific topic you'd like to discuss today? Because I have so many things going around. I didn't sleep hardly at all last night. I had super downloads, and so
Mhm.
I have a lot of information that's kind of like marinating, and we could really go in any direction. So I thought I'd give you the reins. Is there something you'd like to discuss specifically right now?
Right now, no, but yeah, like you go into something and like see what pops up. I wanted to like circle back maybe later on to this whole
Please.
thing of recognizing that your other abilities are awakening and like trying to
I like.
learn to use them. Yeah, like that's very important. But let's see, what kind of experiences did you have?
Okay. Well, I just, the past couple of days, I'm just finding that time slippage is more profound, more intense. Um, and because of that, like I'm kind of oscillating in all times, it feels like during these download periods. It's very bizarre. And I've never experienced it to this degree before, that I was just wondering, like how many other people are having this experience for one, but the amount of downloads that are occurring, I can't tell you what day it is. I have to look. Like, I mean, I know these things. I write dates down when I do sessions. I know what day it is, but I don't. Anyway, and just moving into this, there's more and more activity happening at night. There are more messages coming through, and it I feel like that we're kind of like touching toe on old energy and then new energy so quickly that we're really turbulent. So it feels like really euphoric peaks and then what seems like lower lows than there actually are. And there are others who have reported this. And so I kind of wanted to bring it up only to specifically to uh, comfort anyone that's having it and to let you know that you're not alone. But also just kind of being aware that there are things that you can do. You can do breathing into the bubble of white light always regulates this stuff for me. Everybody has their own thing, and that's the one I found. And so, focus in on big, slow breaths and breathing it in through your nose and holding it for a moment in your belly instead of immediately releasing it. And when you release it, it's like you're blowing up a balloon of light, starting from your soul spark.
Yeah, coming back to your center.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when things get chaotic, it's very important to like come back to your center and ground yourself there. Or also interact with Mother Nature. That's also super useful during these times, especially with the solar flares.
Yes, which we're expecting more of, by the way. That's actually why I'm doing a group meditation tomorrow that I've already posted in the group and the YouTube, and I'm doing it because what energies that we're in is expected to peak even more tomorrow. Right now, I'm actually in like this in between place that looks like almost like a Vesca Pisces. There's tornadoes all around us. And so like there's also this like real electric energy. It's okay, we're far out of the path, but we still get the electric energy from it. So I'm not sure if it is that or the solar flares, but I feel like I'm already feeling them right now. It's this massive sunspot goes geo-effective tomorrow. It's the Uranus Cazimi. Uranus leaves Taurus and goes into Gemini, and so the transit is happening. There's like a lot of energetic events occurring in this window of time, and then you talk to the astrologists and that are really in depth, and the ones that read, people who read cards, and people have been talking about the 15th yesterday, today, and tomorrow for a few months. So, it's not surprising that we're in this peaked energy window. But I guess what other useful tips or tricks can we help people? Because if I'm feeling it, other people are feeling it,
Yeah, regarding the solar flares and the upheaval of energy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm starting to like tune out of that whole thing because I'm like spoiled where I live.
Right.
Like I live in a village and towards the end of the village and I'm on a hilltop, so I don't really have many people around me and I'm very close to Mother Nature.
Right.
And I also do a lot of gardening because my wife had other stuff to do, so I had to fill in for her. So that meant every day 2 hours of being in the garden, like pulling weeds and planting stuff.
Yeah.
So that was super grounding for me as well. But yeah, like the problem is like when you don't live near to any type of, I don't know, like untouched nature, like out in the fields or forest, hills, go out in the desert or the ocean or a coast of something, or just interact with water. Like if you don't have those, it's kind of difficult. Although I found it like running water like really helps.
Yeah.
Like also if you like take a shower, not just energetically, but I mean physically, you are grounded because you're in connection with the flowing water, which is grounded in the soil. So if you're absolutely desperate, taking showers is really good. Yeah, like the water needs to be running because it has to come in and also like go out. If you just isolate yourself in a tub, then the water is also isolated. It's not connecting to the earth and at that moment. But yeah, like being in running waters using salt, if you're also isolated, is really good.
Mhm.
Interacting with the element of the sun, if you can. I really love being outside and where I could see like the sky and like feel the wind.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, it's like when I was really desperate, and that's all I had
Mhm.
in the big city, just like connecting with the element of air.
Right.
Yeah, like do that. And also, but if you're very isolated, you can really like during meditation, you can connect to Mother Earth. In a sense, also projecting your consciousness or leaving your body, like going down below to the core of Mother Earth, interacting with her, grounding with her, not observing, but absorbing her energies inside of you. Let her recharge you to ground you and all that stuff. But if you're very new to that and you still haven't, I wouldn't say figured out, but you didn't really get like a sense of like how that works in an ideal state, then I would highly recommend like going on a trip somewhere where you can be more isolated from a lot of humans and
Yeah.
just like interact with Mother Nature, like try to learn to sense your own energy. Try to sense Mother Earth's calming, grounding, nourishing energy, and like get a feel for it. Like, what is it like to be immersed in that energy, basically?
Yeah.
And when you're doing it on your own, later on, maybe at home or in whatever place you want to meditate, like try to recreate that sensation. Because if you visualize it and you feel it, then it's happening. So yeah, like always try to go back to the feelings that you had during certain experiences, because like you can trigger similar experiences with that. Or on a side note, if you had like experiences that you don't really remember during the night, or you had some kind of out of body experience or activation, and you don't really recall everything, or just you only have like clues of it, something happened,
Hmm.
then using the feeling and going back mentally to that state and time, you can like unpack more of that experience in a conscious way if your higher self permits it, because in some cases it's a no-go zone.
Mm.
Maybe
Yeah.
you're still not ready, but if you're ready, then you will be able to have access to those hidden experiences that you had. I wouldn't say like it's a regressing yourself, but it's a kind of a way of like accessing hidden information within yourself.
Right.
You're into experimenting with those stuff.
Those are really good points. And just to add something else to the flowing water and all that, the important stuff to help. I found this thing, scientific studies they've done over the past, and I started to implement it years ago. But what it is they've discovered that if you use nature sounds, listen to nature sounds, even if you're in the middle of a concrete block,
Hmm.
that's going to uplift and assist you in some of these ways. And so I find that when I meditate, one of the first things that I am presented with are the sounds of nature in the meditation state, even if I'm in a quiet place where there's no sound at all. You know what I mean? And so I would encourage anyone to like emulate that, to like hear the birds singing and then hear the buzzing of a distant, you're safe, no bee's gonna get you or anything like that, but you can hear the buzzing of insects, and the light breeze as it moves through the trees. What does that sound like? And that would be like the beginning part of a meditation that is of healing. The most healing that I've ever experienced is when those types of aspects are brought in, and all of us have heard those things before. And so a lot of us can like reproduce it in our own mind, but sometimes it helps to go and get like a video or go out in nature and record some sound and bring it back, and then you can use that to assist you too.
Yeah, like there are awesome materials on YouTube. Like I think it's called Meditative Mind is a good channel. And they have different types of tones and frequencies with very subtle music that you can use during meditation or for relaxation. I really like to use those. So
Yeah, yeah,
they're really good, especially if you have difficulty focusing during meditation or you have like a very erratic scatterbrain type of consciousness. Then yeah, having something in the background that's like very subtle, like it's
yeah,
not distracting, like really helps to tune into your meditation and keep a focus and be focused in the meditation and like not having your mind like go someplace else.
yeah, yeah,
Because that can definitely happen, and it happens to me too, even after I don't know almost 1.5 decades of doing it. And I know it's happening to everyone listening too from time to time. We're not perfect. Or you
right,
can fall asleep during meditation. That can happen
right.
too.
I'm finding the meditation to become easier. I mean, with that to the focus part, but every other area is lacking. Like, I'll start to read a message someone wrote to me, and I'll flow down into a download. Like, it'll activate a download for me, and so I'll only read part of the message. So if it's very long, I don't ever get past like the second paragraph, for instance. And then that's also true for any type of content watching for me right now too. I'll start to if I actually want to truly consume it and understand what's happened, I have to rewind it like 5 times, because I'm going into downloads the whole time.
Yeah, like
And
it's triggering something in your
mhm,
subconscious. Yeah, I also get that a lot, especially with I know like psychics or intuitive people, however you want to call it, when they're like bringing through a message or something. I don't even pay attention. I just get a lot of information. It's just coming down into my mind.
yeah, yeah, and it triggers good triggers. All triggers are activations. Let's be honest. I know that there's people that if you trigger them, then you like done them wrong or something like that. I'm not here to trigger anybody. That's not my goal. But if it does happen, I feel like that was on purpose. That was an intended result to assist you.
Yeah,
So
like it's triggering you because there's something that you need to look at.
right, right. And it's also really useful to be aware of while you're in it, to associate it with what it is, because when we understand that it's growth happening instead of someone coming in to ruffle your feathers, then it can be you can receive far greater benefit from it because you've already been in agreement, so you're not resisting it.
Yeah, I love the comment with all those dancing girls.
Yeah, that's Josh. He's fun. There's actually a comment earlier that I was hoping we could highlight. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Where did it go? Here it is. After the full moon, I had an intense download of divine feminine energy and ancient energy, and I found that really fascinating because Z Anderson, because I also the that's the quadrinity they had said. That was the download that I was getting with those exchanges. I actually had some galactic experience, and they were talking about this, that the quadrinity is there. The Trinity is, of course, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Everybody knows that. And it's been missing. It's been lacking the divine feminine. And so the quadrinity is the final step of the anchoring. And that's already been going for like 3 years now. We've been anchoring divine feminine. I don't feel like we're done, but and also that includes anchoring divine masculine in balance, because without all of the others, then the divine masculine wasn't really been able to be in balance. So I got that same download. I'm just I'm really impressed that someone else had exactly the same experience as I did. Did you have what happened for you during the micro moon? That was your birthday, wasn't it?
Which on the 10th?
Oh, I
Like
guess
this.
it was on the 12th.
Oh, okay, okay. I just love what Amanda said. Like, I get triggered sometimes by someone else being triggered. Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
there you go. How did I do that? I clicked. Okay, this is weird. Where does that? There it is. I got. That's funny.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely had that experience quite a few times.
I'm that way too. I am. Yeah, that's funny. Um, you want to circle back to our earlier topic that you wanted to go back into? I can't even remember what it was. I forgot to take a note.
Yeah, it was first awakening to signs that you're experiencing other things. Yeah, like if anyone remembers or they are still experience or they are new to experiencing weird stuff in their life or maybe even being scared of it or confused, and like please write in stuff, like we can talk about it or just share it. Yeah, like the thing is, like in my case, like I found out later on that I was kind of empathic all my life. I was just not aware of how that thing functioned, and I thought that the way I saw people or the information I got about everyone was just like a normal way of being for everyone. And I
Yeah,
found out later on that no, it's not.
yeah,
So in general, like when I was younger, I had this strange, uncontrollable, I don't even know what to call it. So whenever I was with someone, I tended on to like take on their energetic patterns. I started to like talk in a way that they talk or start to have the same patterns that they do when they're functioning normally.
yeah,
And I couldn't really control it or I didn't understand what was happening. Or whenever I was interacting with someone or just like looked at someone, I instantly always got like a lot of information about them, like what type of person are they, what kind of past did they have, like what was hurting them, like what are they going through right now,
yeah,
and all that information was just like just coming through like that. And I always thought like, hey, like that's what how everyone else is functioning too. Like this is
right,
completely normal. So then I had my spiritual awakening, and everything turned upside down. So all my senses were like up to 11 and I couldn't control them. So, and I was taking on the energies of other people even more intensely. And they also had like physical side effects too. Like I was taking on the sickness of other physical conditions, I was absorbing it in my body.
right,
And those are things that you don't want to do. So, because everyone has their own things that they're working on or struggling with, and we also have our own stuff to work on, and we don't need the baggage of other people inside our body because we have a lot to work on as it is. So,
right.
and yeah, like that was the first sign that I was like taking on the energies of other people, and it was like in an uncontrolled way. And that's when the astrologer guide popped up, and he was like, hey, like you need to learn to control those abilities.
Right.
I was like, what abilities? Like, I just, this is just how I work or I live or I don't know. And
Wow.
yeah, like after that, I had like a name for it. And I also started to search on YouTube, like, what are empathic abilities or how do they work? And yeah, I found quite a few good videos and like explaining of like how it works and like how to shield yourself. Like in a short version, like we are channels of energy and we are constantly a conduit of energy. Like that's how we live.
Hmm.
Like we don't hold energy inside of our bodies. Just look at the physical body. We constantly need to like breathe in and breathe out. Like we consume food and liquids, we process it, and we have to release it, and so forth. And that happens energetically too. But the
Hmm.
problem is when you're like absorbing things inside your body and you're like not releasing it, you're not healing it, and when it is not used up or processed, then your body will store it just as with like excess food or tension in your body will start to appear as like fat or inflammation, which can like become something even more severe later on if you don't address it.
Yep.
And that's the same way how our energetic system works too. And like if like stuff are building up in your body energetically, like inflammation can be one of the physical symptoms. of like there's so much pressure and tension building up in certain parts of your body that it starts to have a physical effect already, and you really need to look at that.
Right.
So going back to
I
the
gotta interrupt you
abilities.
just for 1 second.
Oh,
There's
sure.
3 people live offer on the Facebook, 33 on my channel, and 13 on yours. I've never seen it fit all of the threes like that before.
Nice.
Sorry, it just feels important to mention. So please go on. Excuse me.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. Yeah, like going back to being a conduit of energy. So we're constantly channeling energies. In general, like we are bringing in a lot of divine energy from our higher self, from our soul, or however you want to call it. We're also bringing in a lot of energy from Mother Earth, which is our vital energy. Like she's keeping us alive. Like without her, our physical bodies would not exist and could not be sustained. So we're constantly not conduing, channeling energies or conducting energy through our body. And you can do a lot of stuff with that. And this is where the fun stuff comes in, basically. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that because you can tap into different sources of energy and can channel it through your body, or you can bring in different types of energies and like channel it to someone else. Like this is how healing works. You bring in the higher vibrational frequencies and you like give it to someone else, and this is when healing happens. Or you tap into some kind of information source, just like the oracles did in ancient times. You tap into a higher aspect of yourselves, which sees a lot more, and you bring through some very important information for someone, maybe yourself or someone else.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there are a lot of ways to use that if you can do it in a conscious way. Like this is how great artists work or inventions are being made. Like if you look into the background of some of these great minds in history, you will find out they had their background in alchemy or mysticism, even though they were a physicist or some kind of scientist or mathematician. For example, like Pythagoras. Oh, I think we lost
I'm
Pamela.
still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving you the screen. Is that so? Is it okay?
No, yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, we can do
Okay, I'll
it.
take it away then.
Yeah. For example, I don't know, like I think I pronounced it correctly, Pythagoras. You know that mathematician
Yeah.
from
Hmm.
ancient Greece.
Hmm.
Like he had his own mystery school where he was teaching the understanding of the universe according to geometry and numbers. I also, Isaac Newton was an alchemist, and you don't learn about these things in school.
Right.
Yeah, like they were also tapping into their higher aspects and bringing through vital information for advancing humanity in a new direction. So, yeah, like there's a various ways you can use your empathic abilities. That's just kind of like the first stepping stone of actually doing something much more grander with it.
Right. It's cool. Just then, Jules pulled a card for us, and she got spider. Spider is to create. She tells us to create, and I find that when we're as empaths at any time, when we're stagnant or feeling off balance in some way, creating will assist you.
Yeah,
It
it's like therapy. That's why they have art therapy too. Even if you're not an artist, you can still do it.
right. And there's many different ways of creating too. Like Guardian and I do have some background in Guardian more than me in artistic expression in like the traditional sense. Though you can also be a creator in the kitchen. You can be a creator in the garden. You can be a creator, creating space. What Guardian and I are doing right now is creation. We're creating content. It's
Yeah,
some type of creating, and it's no mistake that there's a reason that in the Bible, some of the words in the Bible are very important, and um, they worded it this way on purpose, that we were made in the image of the Creator. They use those words, and they say it more than once for a reason.
yeah,
They're
it's
reminding us.
fishy.
What was that? Please go on.
Yeah, an ancient Egyptian. By the way, the name of the Sphinx is Shepsem, and it means the in the image of God. So
Ooh,
it was called that way for a reason. So,
I just saw this video where they're thinking that because they found old drawings and depictions of the Sphinx before, that the head was a woman
I mean, you
before.
can't really tell what it is because it's so distorted. So, and they
Right,
also, in some cases, they were portraying. For example, there was Queen Hatshepsut. Like many of her statues, she looks like a man. So
right.
you can't
I,
really tell in those. Yeah, like they had these. I don't know what's the proper word for it. Like they had these very precise templates according like how they illustrate or represent certain aspects or people or functions, and they kind of all look the same if you like. But you really need to like look into their symbology or what are they combined with in a more subtle way to like recognize like who they are.
right.
Like all the pharaoh statues almost look the same.
It's true. It's true. It was like there was one artist.
Yeah, like there was like a template that they like were like reusing over and over again.
Right, right.
And also the interesting thing about it, like I had like a theory, like almost like the old kingdom statues. I think like they're amazingly beautiful. Like I highly recommend like looking it up. Like old kingdom, not marble, granite, or like what's that? Super hard stone. I think they were using granite statues,
Granite,
those black
which the
stones.
that's the strongest, hardest one.
Yeah, like it's so they're so perfect. So it's if you like look closely to them, the whole surface and the shapes and everything is perfect.
Yep.
And also all these little ornaments and like lines in their headdress, they're like the width of those shapes of like coming down and over. They're perfect throughout the entire oval shape. So
Yeah.
perfect proportions, everything is perfectly calculated. It's almost like we could do that right now if we would like do it, create it digitally and like print it in 3D.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you could not do that manually. So my I don't like my theory was that they had like these templates kind of, and they were like just like interchanging elements and like changing the shape of stuff, and they were like, I wouldn't say like printing them in 3D, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, like they're like so, and they're also perfectly symmetrical. Like we
Right.
couldn't measure that, but now since we can like scan stuff in 3D and you can like put it on a computer, you can like measure it in perfectly. And I think the margin of error is like below 1 millimeter, which is
Yeah.
very, very small. So,
Yeah. I recently found myself down a rabbit hole about this actually, and it's very fascinating because there's a group of people who've recently discovered a technology using water to cut granite in smaller scale, um, yeah, coupled with this like early. There's a bunch of different writings and reports from earlier language. Cuneiform has been there's a whole bunch of documentation. It just like 97% had not been translated yet. And now that
mhm.
they've been using this AI to rapidly translate all of this information, we're learning a lot overnight. And one of those things is there's many over and over again. They talk about what the word we translated to be God, um, Elohim, um, which actually means it's a plural word. It turns out it means those from the who come from the sky. Anyway, talking about them moving, picking stone up without touching it, and then melting it like Play-Doh, shaping it like Play-Doh, like you would dough, in order to get you've seen those stones right close to each other, and they're like, you can't even put a piece of paper in there. Those were the ones that they were talking about, that they were able to melt them. They were able to heat them to such a high temperature that when they pushed up against the other one, it was soft and it
Yeah. It
place.
definitely looked like that. You can also see it in like Mexico. Like you have these huge blocks and they're like pressed together like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I remember like I think I asked Thoth about like how did they do that, and he was like, they used alchemy. They're like, yeah, like you change the vibration of the stone to be not hard but soft, and after you have finished with the Play-Doh part, you like change the vibration again to like set it back to its original default.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
also just was listening to Graham Hancock's Fingerprints of the Gods, and he was like recounting all these scriptures about like how did they build these huge monuments, and there are like all these stories about these sages using flutes or whistles, or I think like also there's in the Bible that like the wall of Jericho was like destroyed by using trumpets or something.
Yeah.
So they were
Yeah.
using sound and vibration somehow with some kind of method to do these amazing things.
Which goes back to another Tartarian topic. I am going to do a whole show about Tartaria soon, guys. Just so you know, we're going to bring a friend of mine on that's very well versed in this too. Later on down the road, I think it's going to be on the 30th. Anyway, uh, the bells, Guardian. You probably heard about the bells. How they had told everybody it was they needed it the metal for bullets or something during the Second World War, and there was this huge undertaking of the removing of the bells. Fast forward, now we know a lot more about these bells. They're actually, first of all, they didn't melt them down. They're in bell graveyards. They broke every bell to make sure that you don't get the healing benefit from it, and buried them in mass. These bells started to get taken away when a lot of these early depictions is showing clearly someone who's a giant. Over and over again, these giants are carrying these bells away, and the villagers are upset about it. They're linked directly to Tartaria. If you go to these bell graveyards, you'll see the depictions and the writings. They're still on it. You can still read them, and of the sound that comes from these bells when replicated can is a frequency that can heal you on an atomic level, and that's why the ringing of the bells would happen. And that these churches and chapels of ancient times, you couldn't have built that at that time, by the way that they're saying it was built in 1888. There's no way that in horse and buggy that they were building those structures, as were places of healing, of body realignment and energy realignment. And you could see in these chapel windows, Guardian, it's really cool. You know how looks like my background. It's like stained glass windows. And sometimes there's images, but usually like you'll always see the ones that are just sacred geometry. It's really pretty. They've actually discovered with these measurements that I can't remember. It's like seismology or something like that. Anyway, they figured out that the resonance that happens in the center of the chapel looks the same as the glass window does. They're showing you while you're driving by that that's the frequency that my body needs, because as a Tartarian or a time of this earlier time, I know that when my body's out of disruption this way, I go to that frequency place. Instead of being a church, it was a place of music, of bells resonating to heal you.
Yeah, just like in ancient times.
Right. Right.
But also like bells are like singing bowls.
Yep.
And I know, like I don't remember where, but I also know that they were like using bells to like banish evil or like
Mhm.
evil spirits because they don't tolerate specific frequencies or such.
Right.
You can also like clear your house energetically with sound bowls, or there's like a specific. I have like a Tibetan bell. I really like it. I broke the little thingy that's in the middle. How do you call that?
The ball.
The ball, yeah, I managed to like break that. I have to like reattach it with something, but it still works. You can still like hit it with a stick or something and it rings beautifully.
Awesome.
And it has this like very surreal high pitched sound to it. And I feel like it's like going through my head. I can't really explain it. It almost feels like physically like that sound is like piercing through your head, or
Right.
it's like pushing out stuff.
I
It's
remember
very
you sharing that with us on one of your lives one time. It was really pretty sound.
yeah. I don't know how much it comes through the microphones, but who knows?
Mhm. Speaking of this healing, there's a question that I've left on the screen and I've forgotten to address. That there's a really good question: is how to clear out sickness picked up from others. So, like
Hmm.
you were talking about earlier, what would
Yeah,
you do if you were in that situation, Guardian?
yeah. Like use the violet flame. Like use some kind of transmutational meditation to transform what you have absorbed in your body.
Yeah,
Like that thing can also be like intermingled with your own sickness as well. So I think there's if you're already struggling with something, like we tend to like attract like I wouldn't say like-minded energies, but like energies that are of the same frequency to
yeah,
like reinforce our own patterns. So if you're struggling with some kind of addiction or sickness and you have your uncontrolled empathic abilities, you may attract energies that will reinforce that negative thing inside of you as well,
yeah,
making it even worse. So in that cases, it can be a bit confusing of like what the hell is happening, because I was already struggling with this specific condition, but now it's like 10 times worse. And yeah, like use transmutational meditation, just like the violet flame. That's super easy to use and incredibly effective.
yeah,
I think like that's how I started most of my journey. Like I used the violet flame. So it basically takes all the density inside your body, all sickness, fear, and doubt, and like deconstructs it and like transmutes it into something positive and constructive.
right,
Yeah, some energies may want to leave your body because they're not in alignment with the high vibrational frequency of the violet flame.
right,
They will leave your body. Physical symptoms may also occur. Like this is a very intense activation, especially if you had never done it before and you have a lot of blockages and stuck energy in your body. Then this like huge rush of high vibrational energies like flowing through your body will have physical side effects like I like twitching or your back moving, almost like electricity like rushing through your body.
it feels to me like I've got like a heart palpitation in my belly when I'm in that. It's weird, like your belly's vibrating inside.
Yeah, you could have also a heart palpitation if you are holding on to a lot of fears, a lot of crap inside your body, and it was like pressing down in your chest and in your heart center. Then it would like the violet flame would try to like break through it.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't try; it does break through it
right.
if you hold the energy. And yeah, it can be intense, but it also like depends on you, like how I know, like how much do you go lean into that energy, or how intense do you want to be. Like I was very drastic when it comes to self development, so I wanted everything out as quickly as possible. So I had very rough experiences in the beginning.
Right.
But yeah, like the more you do it, the more clear you will be.
Hmm.
And when you do the same type of meditation later on, you won't have those effects. Those I wouldn't say negative side effects, but those physical symptoms, because your body has already cleared that out.
Right.
And now the energy of the violet flame has a much more clear path to flow through your body, and it you won't be experiencing those twitches or I don't know, like electricity like rushing through your body.
Right.
It will subside because you became more harmonious and balanced, basically.
Right. I'm impressed to see how many people have commented saying that they also have that same location that I just described. The
Which one? Which?
vibration in the vibration in the
Oh,
belly.
mm-hmm.
And particularly that we've been doing group meditations for every week for a little while, and it's always channeled. And one of the things that have been coming through a lot lately has been addressing specific chakras. And I have gotten the feeling, the sense that a lot of what we're resolving right now has to do with this lower area of the body. Again, like we've talked about this before too, Guardian. We as empaths, as people, energy workers, as starseed, whatever you want to call yourself, it's the same thing, really. And we're all awesome. Is that we are really good at the upper three chakras. Like we're in fact four. We're in fact just super good at it. The heart, the throat, maybe some of us are still working through the witch's wound and the persecution stuff, but in particular, the third eye and the crown, when we like first wake up, that's what we're doing. We're like, open third eye, and like it's already open, and what it is that needs to be addressed and get a little bit more attention, maybe some TLC, is the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus.
Yeah, like those are our Achilles heel.
Right.
I'm really not at home with those, although I'm making some improvements there. But yeah, like, and I also think like most of us like try to like neglect that or like not focus on it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's part of our system too, and we have to pay attention and heal that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, the whole system goes off balance, and we haven't done a damn thing. Then the whole point of us being here in a physical body is to like to be in balance and to like tap into our higher self
Right.
and to embody our higher vibrational self in a physical body, basically. And if we neglect the lower chakras, then that doesn't really work because higher
Right.
self wants us to be in perfect balance.
Right. Well, and we think about it, what has been most out of balance has typically been the root chakra, which is, let's be honest, one of the areas where some of these other energies that are being released will sometimes attach themselves. They'll usually it's the crown or the root. And not always, but that's most typical. And this is the place, the root chakra is the place where safety, security, abundance.
Yeah, survival.
Yeah, like these
It's
things
very
that are all out of
primal.
whack. Sorry.
No, it's like a very primal, instinctual, very basic stuff are all stored there. Yeah, I was also attacked once from my root chakra, so
Right.
some shit got up in my system through the root chakra. So yeah, and I think it took me almost like a year to like really bring it back to balance after that experience. But no, it's okay.
Right. Right. I mean, it can be, and to remind yourself also the importance of emphasizing your belief in your own abundance and your own security. These things that we've been constantly taught to believe that we're lacking is part of us manifesting too, and this root chakra out of balance will make us feel like we don't have as much as we need. We feel less than abundant. We still feel financially insecure and insecure in every other way, and so it's all about this balance. I love these comments though. Are you seeing this, Guardian? Everyone's talking about this belly thing, and I like the example. It's like we're birthing. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are feeling this right now. I find this really, I'm doing it too. And it's like a birthing almost. And what's interesting about it is that it doesn't matter if it's the person has a male or female body. So the difference is though, for dudes, they don't know what birthing feels like.
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
when we say that, it doesn't help. When those of us who have had children, it's like immediately know what they're talking about. But it's also got to do with like the hips. They're like the hips kind of are like pulling apart a little bit, like in the beginning, the end phases of pregnancy. And then there's with this quivering in the belly sensation like a baby's moving, but it's like a palpitation. It's really weird. And a lot of us are having it. And so Can we push yet? Says Amanda. Yes, let's push. Let's get this. Let's birth this new world.
It's in progress. Yeah.
Oh, we're past time. You probably need to get going, huh?
Yeah. Probably, yeah. I start to feel. I woke up I think at 6 a.m. I don't like what's happening, but as soon as the sun comes up, I'm
Yeah,
wide awake.
yeah. That was my one of my problems last night. I stayed up so long, but I was in bed trying to sleep. Like that doesn't usually happen. I was tired. My body was tired. I didn't take a nap. I usually do. I was exhausted, but when I laid down, nope, I was not sleeping and then the sun came up, and I still hadn't slept yet. So I was still trying to still trying to go to sleep. It was really frustrating. But
Sounds very tiring. So
yeah, it's okay. But Yolanda Marie will be back with us in the future. It just worked out where she couldn't be here this particular week. Um, we're kind of thinking we'll do something semi-regular where the three of us will be meeting. It's going to be a fun thing for y'all to see, and I really look forward to it as well. It'll be cool. There's one little announcement I want to make really quickly before we go. Is that okay? So tomorrow, well, I guess two announcements. Tomorrow, we're doing a group meditation. I have that link in the comment, excuse me, in the community section of the YouTube channel, as well as in the Telegram group for that. That will be at 4 p.m. Central Time. So that will be 2 p.m. Pacific, kind of do your 10 p.m. UK. You'll see in the description of that the time frame that it'll be in. If anybody wants to join, there's a lot of energy coming in that day, and so it's going to be really useful to have that. And then just to move through, on the 21st, I'm pretty sure that day we have Josie coming on. But what's really I'm looking forward to, it's going to be kind of fun, is next Friday week from today, we're going to have a group of people come on all at once and have a conversation. So that'll be really interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to give everybody an update of what's going on. And man, Guardian, this was a fun conversation. I could really talk for hours, obviously.
yeah, we could. I would have problems physically, but I could do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming today and for always showing up. It means a lot to me that you always show up. So thank you.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. It's really fun to be back. Yeah, I kind of took a step back from YouTube, but it's really fun to interact with you and the community. It's a lot of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Thank you.
helps me focus more on the spiritual aspects of my life, since in my day-to-day activities I don't have much time to focus on
Right.
at the current moment.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we'll see you again on another show in the near future. I'm sure then.
Mm-hmm.
All
I'm
right.
also sure. Just let me know.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here as well. And I look forward to anybody who's joining us for the meditation tomorrow. That's not going to be aired, by the way. You need to go to the Zoom link to go to that meditation. So thank you all. I love you. Sending you so much love and balance. You got this. I hope blessings.
Bye.